Hey YouTube, it's day 8 of the challenge. Just wanted to make this 60-second video today about Bizarro fiction. So one of my little guilty pleasures is when I read, and I don't read very much, especially for an author. That's a thing to talk about another day, but I've never really been much of a reader, even though I'm a professional writer. And that does cause me some problems sometimes because good writers read a lot and I don't read very much. But when I do read, and it's not like Michael Crichton or one of my other things that I really like. I'm reading Bizarro fiction, and most of that Bizarro fiction that I read is from an author named Carlton Mellick III, who's been doing this as his career for a long time. I've read several of his books. But I really like Bizarro fiction, not because of the, really messed up and gross ideas in it sometimes, and sometimes things are very gross, especially in Carlton's books. But it kind of appeals to me because it gets the juices flowing because of the creativity. One thing that's really cool about the termed bizarro fiction, which is kind of like a mix between sometimes urban kind of contemporary fiction, but also with some cosmic horror stuff or just really super creative, wacky ideas, especially concepts of creating a setting or background with stuff that is extremely bizarrely different from our own, while the characters go about their story as if everything is normal. But like, I just finished reading um, a book of his called Clusterfuck, which was pretty good, and I had previously read his book called Ape Shit, which kind of is related to Clusterfuck. Clusterfuck's kind of like a sequel with a different set of characters. But some of the really creative stuff that comes out of that, it's like I really liked when a character manifested as like a female werewolf, but instead of doing transformation stuff like typical, it would happen whenever darkness engulfed her or even passed over her eventually when she was in darkness long enough. So I like the idea of, instead of a solid transformation, how like even if a darkness was just passing over her, it's like the eyes and the skin would turn into fur and the teeth would elongate and everything, just as darkness passed over her and would presumably go away when light was on her again. So I thought that was kind of a cool concept. But that book also had a familiar concept to apeshit, where there was just a specific region that was cursed, where any living creatures that were in it couldn't die, and they didn't necessarily know that until later. So you had all these characters getting their bodies like totally wrecked and not knowing how they were still alive, not understanding it until they started piecing things together. Um, like we're talking like a skeleton being a character being carried around as just a ribbed cage with a rattling skull on top, and he's still alive, being carried around in a guy's backpack. So crazy stuff like that. There was also, let's see, I also recently read by his a book called Big Meat, and Big Meat was a really cool premise because I loved the idea of a giant kaiju monster that when it finally did die, the enormous body that it left behind became a huge problem and an entire industry, as businesses or governmental agencies or whatever sprung up around it to just get to the disposal of this mountain-sized body that was mostly invulnerable and was extremely difficult to dispose of. So Bizarro makes really cool settings and concepts, and what I love about it is the creativity that I see sometimes in these stories. I haven't really read much Bizarro other than Carlton Mellick III, but I enjoy it. All right, that's enough for today. I'm way over. As I do these 60-second videos, I think as I think about things to talk about and get a little more comfortable talking without all of the filler words and the stuttering and the grasping, I think my videos will be gradually increasing in length, which perhaps that's part of the point of it. In fact, as far as the original challenge goes, I think the challenge was to make videos at least 60 seconds, so I don't think they have to specifically be 60 seconds. Anyway, see you tomorrow.